Hello, everybody. I'm back after being off for a week, over a week. Felt like forever. I didn't realize how used to doing these streams I've gotten every day. When I don't do them, it feels like I am missing out. I feel kind of behind. So I figured the first thing I'll do as I'm coming back, I got a couple more streams lined up this week, actually with other people. Tomorrow we're actually going to do that Stripe thing that we didn't get to do 2 weeks ago because my internet went out randomly. I think they cut a cable outside or something. But Pricewell, the new Stripe integration, I'm going to check that out tomorrow with Matt. He's going to kind of take me through it. But it's actually really, really easy to set up Stripe integration, specifically subscription Stripe subscriptions in Bubble using Pricewell. So we're going to check that out tomorrow. Today, I want to just check out a couple of updates that Bubble released and play around and see what's going on there, because they actually do seem pretty interesting. This was the announcement that they made where Cal, I don't know who Cal is, November 17th. See, this is already old. I'm already behind on this stuff. 10 days old already. Normally I would do this day of. We're about to release a new breaking change that will hopefully resolve some long-standing known issues. The major improvement is the way in which nested pop-ups are ordered. Right? So when we talk about a nested pop-up, if there's more than one pop-up, like you have a pop-up and there's a button in that pop-up that triggers another pop-up to show, I think that's what they mean by nested. At least that's my understanding of it. And I have worked with that before in a few different places, and it didn't work the best. It was like if you wanted it to kind of be like gradual, like some process that requires these gradual pop-ups to show, it was a little messy. It got a little messy. It was easy to get kind of lost in what was happening. So it seems like they put some effort into fixing that. Beforehand, if you showed a pop-up while one was already visible, the order of them will be determined by when they were added to the application, which is weird. That's a weird thing. Like you wouldn't want it. You may decide that you need a second or third pop-up further into the process. So just kind of having that ordered, like Bubble determines the order by which the developer added it to the application, that's a little strange. Beyond that, it would even get weirder with pop-ups inside of reusables. That I've never even tried to do, as it'd be hard to tell which order they'd appear in. Yeah, I can see why that would be a problem. Additionally, any blur effects would still apply, leading to pop-ups in the back blurring ones in the front, right? So some that are on behind it, essentially, would be visible, while the one with the highest Z index would be blurred. Now, when you show a pop-up, it'll appear on the front of the stack always. This will ensure consistency in nested pop-ups. It also means that you can have pop-ups which appear in different orders depending on what the user does first, and will they always show correctly? And they will always show correctly. Now, I'm interested to know if they are letting you set the actual Z index. And for anyone that doesn't know, like a Z index is kind of the order in which HTML elements overlap, right? So like if it's coming off the screen, I guess, like the Z, X, Y, and Z axis, if it's coming off the screen, like this would be a Z index 1, this would be Z index 2, this would be Z index 3. That's the way that I understand it. And I'm wondering if they're enabling you to actually set the Z index of a pop-up. I'm not sure about that yet, but we'll take a look and see if they're letting us do that. I hope that's what they're letting us do. It also means that you can have pop-ups which appear in different order depending on what the user does first. I read that already. Note that this has changed. This has involved changing the Z index of some elements, like group focus. So if you use custom CSS to reorder elements, you may have to change some of the logic. So they're also applying this to group focus. Note that this involves a change in the z-index of some elements like group focus. I'm not sure exactly what that means. The other improvement is to the date picker. Before, the font of today clear close buttons was the system default. We've now fixed it so that they mimic the font setting for the date picker. Okay, so it sounds like they've changed the coloring layout to some of the parts of the built-in date picker. So I guess we can take a look at that too. That should be pretty simple. Once the Bubble version 19 launches later today, you can upgrade this to behavior and settings version to have. Please try it out and let us know if you have any questions. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's just check that we are on the right version first. Available Bubble Engine versions. This application is currently on version 19. Pop-ups now have z-index assigned based on the order being shown, date, time, inputs, selected font, and calendar buttons. All right, so I'm on the right plan. It's interesting that these experimental features down here haven't been added yet. The expression parentheses, I feel like they did that a while ago. I feel like that should be part of the stack at this point. Like, shouldn't they just release this version? I mean, everybody was asking for this, and I feel like, I played with this a little bit. You still have to toggle it on and off, right? So this would be, it creates a save point automatically if you click this, and then you'll get the option to add parentheses, like if you're doing math, right? Like current page, like this as an example. You'll see those options when you're building an expression. And if I turn it off, it won't. But I'm not sure why they haven't added this one to the regular version yet. Show snippets of the reference on hover. When hovering any feature in the editor, show the beginning of the manual entry. Overriding time zones for date time inputs. This feature allows you to change the time zone that is used at input to generate your absolute time. I don't know what that means. All right, let's just focus on pop-ups today. And maybe that date time picker thing. All right, so I'm on a blank page. I don't have anything on here, I don't think. Just the page. No elements. So let's start with a pop-up. Actually, let's start with a button, right? Let's start with a button. Why do I have these shitty styles? Let's just do outline button. And we'll do show pop-up 1. All right, and then let's drop a pop-up on the page. Pop-up. This will be pop-up 1. And then I guess what we can do is have another button in here. And this will be show pop-up 2. Pop-up 2. And then that will show another pop-up. Clicking that button will trigger another pop-up, right? That is my understanding of what a nested pop-up is. I guess I can just make this a little bigger. It's not necessarily inside the pop-up, inside the first pop-up. It's just like, we'll just do a icon here that shows us, I don't know, any one of these, a battery icon. All right, let's preview this. All right, so we have show pop-up 1. Oh, well, I have to build the workflow first. All right, so let's start with show pop-up 1, start edit workflow. We're going to go element actions, show, and then show pop-up 1. All right, and then once we're in pop-up 1, we also want the option. I'm going to go to my pop-up 1, and then when this button is clicked, we want to show pop-up 2. And then nothing should really happen when the battery is clicked. That's just the point that we want to get to. And we'll see how that works. So show pop-up 1. Cool, we got pop-up 1. And then we got pop-up 2 here. Looks like pop-up 2, but the icon is not showing. Maybe the icon is white. Let's see. Let's edit style. Yeah, I don't know why the color is white here. Let's try that again. But it does look like it's blurring the background. Yeah, show pop-up 2. That's weird. What did I do there? I think I said the background. We don't want a background color. I changed the style of the pop-up instead of the actual button. I just wanted to change the button. Let's edit the standard icon for the button, make that green. Okay, so show pop-up 1. Cool. Show pop-up 2. All right. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, I can see like this would be, all right. So, showing pop-up 1. This is Z index 1. And then this would be Z index 2. So that does make sense. It doesn't look like I have any additional options in order to set the Z index. I guess it just I guess it just kind of keeps track of what initiates the pop-up to display, right? Because it'll recognize that show pop-up 1 is on the page, show pop-up 2 is in pop-up 1, and then the battery is in pop-up 2. So I guess it just kind of tracks that for you. I wish it let you set it. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Because you know, as the bubble developer, that you need to kind of just like order it in the way that you expect the user experience to happen. So that kind of does make sense, but it seems like it could have been an easy thing to put in the well, not easy. Yeah, maybe easy because like you can set the Z index on a floating group, right? I think. Can we still do that? Oh, it's just above and beneath the elements. Interesting. So we can't actually set the Z index like in like set the order like 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let's see about that. Can you set the Z index on a bubble element? Change Z index with an action. Yeah, see, like it mentions the floating groups. That's my familiarity. I can't say that word with it. And then change the Z index with an action. Hey, wondering if there's a plugin that can help change the Z index after the click of a button. My example is that I want to be able to have an uploaded picture with a transparent element, and then the user uploads a photo on top of it, and then on that on save, the orders are flipped. That's a pretty interesting use case for it. I don't know exactly what you want, but you can display default picture by user. No, that's not what you want. Hey, thanks for the reply. That actually helps me another problem. Yeah, I guess you need to use like the classify plugin where you basically have to use custom code to set the Z index like this. Okay. I mean, that's not too hard to do, I guess. Maybe that's why they haven't really um, put it into or built it in. Um, but yeah, I get it. All right, so let's get rid of this floating group. Pop-up 1. What is my standard pop-up here? Background style. I think I set the background style. I want a flat color. Let's not make it this success though. I think I want the gray out color to be something a little bit different. Let's make it 50%. I don't know if that's going to look any better, but this whole thing grayed out looks a little strange. Show pop-up 2. And then what if we keep going? Can we do this? Will it just keep graying out the other ones? I guess so. Show pop-up 2. And then if you click this, let's do another pop-up. Let's do pop-up 3. We'll put some text in here. Just call it pop-up 3. Why is everything white? And then in pop-up 2, we'll just make clicking this display pop-up 3. Element actions show pop-up 3. Show pop-up 2, that works. Show pop-up 3, and then we click the battery, pop-up 3. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty nifty. Like I said, I built some situations. I've had a few situations where I could use that. You're kind of like there's some kind of user action that builds on one another, but you're not really sure. Like for example, if the one that comes to mind, if I'm creating this campaign and each campaign has a vendor, and then the vendor, it may exist already, but if it doesn't exist, then you want to give the user the option to add a vendor, and for that you would need another a pop-up nested within that first pop-up. So I can see a few situations in my case where I would be able to use this, and this does make things easier. So, and it's fairly straightforward. There's nothing too complicated about understanding what's going on here. Maybe I want to check out the group focus thing that they mentioned. I'm not really sure how that would work with a group focus. Do I want to try that? Let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. If we've got a group focus reference element, I guess we could make it. What do we want to make this? I don't really know how this plays into the other the Z index for the other pop-ups. I guess we can make it. Let's make it. I don't even know how should I think about this. Let's do a group focus on the battery icon. And instead of when, let's add some text in here just so we know it's the group focus. Group focus. And the reference element is the battery icon 44. And then when you click the battery icon, instead of showing pop-up 3, let's just show the group focus. I don't know if this is going to really demonstrate what they're talking about here, but we'll see. All right, let's try that now. Show pop-up 1, show pop-up 2, and then it shows our group focus. All right, I mean, that did exactly what I expected it to do. I don't really see any difference here. I think it's just probably when you're using the group focus, you have to kind of pay attention to the Z index between that and the pop-ups. I don't really know. Nor do I really care. I do want to see this date, what they did with the date picker. The other improvement is to the date picker for the before the font today clear close buttons was the system default. All right, so let's check out the date picker. Let's go to our input forms, date time picker. Again, I assume it's the native one, not any plugin. And let's see. Today, clear close. Yeah, that sounds like what we're talking about here. Before the font to the today, clear close buttons were the system default. We've now fixed it so that they mimic the font settings for the date picker. All right, so let's mess with the font settings for the date picker. The font settings. Let's edit the style here. Oh, I get it. So I think they changed probably like if we change the, what is it right now? It's Barlow app font. Let's use Railway. And let's change the color. And let's preview that. I can't really tell. I guess this is Railway. Let's do a more dramatic change. Let's do like script or whatever the hell this is. Alconica. I'm not seeing any difference. I'm not seeing any difference. Before the font for the today clear and close buttons was the system default. We've now fixed that so they mimic the font setting for the date picker. Am I changing the font settings for the date picker? I think I am. These are font settings, right? This is a font setting. Let's make it big. 900, 36. It seems like it's just changing what goes in the placeholder, not what you've selected. So what does that have to do with the today clear and close? I'm not sure. Background style, color. These are the border styles. I don't really know. It doesn't really seem like you can change any of this stuff. Drop something if you in the chat if you see something that I'm missing, but I don't think anything's changed specifically about these three. Today, clear and close. We've now fixed them so that they mimic in the font settings for the date picker. Does that look like Aldonica to you? Let's do some script. That wacky ass script. It's all the same. It's not changing. It's not even changing here. What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? This isn't changing anything. Let's change the format. Is there another date picker that I'm just not seeing? There's only one date time picker. The bubble native one. Yeah, I don't know what this is about. Components test? What the hell is that? That's new. Components test. Look at all this new stuff happening that I have no idea what it is. Components test A. What is a components test? Do they have a reference? Oh, they don't even have a reference for this one. All right, I don't know what's going on with the date picker. I don't see any changes here. At least I don't know. Maybe there's something that I didn't click. I don't know what's going on there. Let's test some of this other stuff, though. Let's get rid of this. I do like the pop-ups, though. I think the nested pop-ups and them setting the Z index on that for you, that's a good feature. I can see a lot of useful cases for it. I don't know what the hell they changed about the date picker. I can't figure it out. But this components test, is that it's obviously something related to a reusable element. So if I go to components test, text, and then I go back to my index, or no, not the index. Oh no, I changed some of the, oh man, I wish I didn't change that stuff. I had this all set up the way that I wanted to in the Spotify rebuild. That sucks. I just have to go back. So the components test, this looks like a regular reusable element to me. Components test, maybe that's just a way of testing reusable elements or something related to the new components library. I have played around a little bit in the new components library. It is pretty easy. It works much like frames. It's pretty easy to just kind of drag and drop these things onto the screen. I think it's very helpful for new people that are getting their hands on Bubble to be able to just drop these onto the page and then see exactly like, okay, this now is we have one parent group here that has a column format, and then we've got an interior group here. This is a row format. So you can kind of see the page structure that Bubble builds for you with these components. So I think this is a great step in new user onboarding, so they're not hit with that blank page of, oh man, what am I supposed to do here? Because if you just start with a blank page, and if it's not fixed, right? Like say it's column. I know the default is fixed, but fixed is used so rarely at this point. I don't even know. You very rarely have a page that's fixed because you want it to be responsive and adjust to different screen sizes. But then you start getting things like this, right? Oh, I drop some text on the page, and then it just kind of stays to the top left. For somebody that doesn't understand CSS Flexbox, they're going to wonder, why is everything left aligned here? Until you realize that you got to go into the Layout tab and then start clicking these buttons to move it around a little bit. But I think with the components library, is it starts to get you used to the way that this is like, say, for example, like a pricing section. Somebody may want to build a pricing section on their website here, and they can see like, okay, this is the way that I would arrange these elements so that they give that format that I'm looking for. All right, you've got the interior column here. These are in a column format, and then these three groups here, 1, 2, 3, are in their parent group is in a row format because these are all in a row, and then within each of these columns are these elements here. These are in a column format. So I like what they've done with this. Again, I don't really see it's I think they're going to probably add more to this. I would imagine, right? There's the signups here. They got a neat footer, but this is mostly landing page stuff. There's not too much like Atomic Fusion and Frames have like repeating groups that are already responsive, and they're they can you can customize how they look. They're pretty stylized, so they're a little more advanced. Let's see if these are responsive. This is responsive. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I guess that's responsive. All right, but that is my thoughts on the nested pop-ups, few of the components libraries, and again, I don't know what that date thing is. I'm going to check in again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to take a look at Pricewell, which is a new way to do Stripe integrations in Bubble. A lot easier, what I'm told, than just using the Stripe plugin. So I'm pretty pumped to check that out tomorrow. I'll have the founder on too to kind of walk me through the different ways I can set up the subscription model. So if you're interested, come check that out tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, here on the Rad Stream. All right. Thanks, everyone. Catch you tomorrow.